In the early 1980s, a wave of terror swept across Chicago, Illinois, as a notorious group of 4 men, later dubbed the Ripper Crew or Chicago Rippers, orchestrated a series of gruesome abductions, tortures, and murders of women. This violent spree of horrific crimes lasted from 1981 to 1982, leaving a chilling legacy in the city's history. The group was led by Robin Gecht, an outwardly unassuming construction worker with a dark obsession. He was joined by 3 accomplices, Edward Spreitzer and brothers Andrew and Thomas Kokoraleis. Together, these men formed the Ripper Crew, which preyed on women, primarily targeting those vulnerable or in isolated situations. Gecht, believed to be the ringleader, had previously worked for serial killer John Wayne Gacy, and many believe that his experiences with Gacy may have influenced the sadistic nature of the Ripper Crew's crimes. Gecht and his followers were driven by a twisted combination of sexual sadism, occult rituals, and pure violence. Between 1981 and 1982, the Ripper Crew abducted multiple women, subjecting them to brutal forms of torture before ultimately killing them. Many of their victims were prostitutes, but their reign of terror was indiscriminate. Once abducted, the women were brought to an apartment or other secluded locations where they were subjected to unimaginable horrors. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Ripper Crew's modus operandi was their involvement in satanic rituals. After torturing and killing their victims, the group would mutilate their bodies, often removing their breasts as part of these sick rituals. According to testimonies, Gecht led ceremonies in which the group would consume pieces of the victim's flesh, reinforcing the ritualistic and sadistic nature of the crimes. The brutality and randomness of the murders made it incredibly difficult for law enforcement to identify and apprehend the killers. The city's sense of fear and helplessness grew as more bodies were found, and no immediate answers emerged. The Ripper Crew's killing spree came to an end when a victim named Beverly Washington survived a brutal attack. In 1982, Washington was found by railroad tracks, gravely injured but alive. Her testimony became a critical piece of evidence in identifying and arresting the members of the Ripper Crew. Washington provided a description of her attackers and the van they used, which led police to Robin Gecht and his followers. Once arrested, Edward Spreitzer and the Kokoraleis brothers quickly confessed to their involvement in the murders. They described their participation in Gecht's horrific rituals, providing details that shocked investigators and the public alike. However, Robin Gecht himself never confessed to any crimes, maintaining his innocence despite overwhelming evidence. The Ripper Crew members faced justice in the following years, though their punishments varied. Edward Spreitzer was sentenced to death, but his sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment when the death penalty was abolished in Illinois. Andrew Kokoraleis was executed in 1999, the last person to be executed in the state before the death penalty was abolished in 2011. Thomas Kokoraleis, after serving decades in prison, was released in 2019, sparking outrage from the families of victims and the wider public. Robin Gecht, believed to be the mastermind behind the Ripper Crew's crimes, was sentenced to 120 years in prison for the abduction and assault of Beverly Washington. Despite the testimonies of his co-conspirators, Gecht was never convicted of murder. His ability to avoid a murder conviction has been a source of continued controversy. The crimes of the Ripper Crew are among the most horrific in Chicago's history, marked by their extreme brutality and ritualistic nature. The group's sadistic actions and the occult elements of their crimes distinguish them from other serial killers of the time, further deepening the public's horror and fascination with their case. For the victims' families, the aftermath of the Ripper Crew's crimes remains a source of immense pain, especially in cases where justice was not fully served. The release of Thomas Kokoraleis in 2019 was met with widespread anger, with many questioning how someone involved in such heinous acts could be allowed back into society. The Ripper Crew's story serves as a reminder of the darkest extremes of human behavior and the enduring impact such crimes can have on individuals and communities. Though the group has been disbanded and its members imprisoned or executed, The legacy of their terror lingers as a cautionary tale about the capacity for evil and the importance of justice for victims. The Ripper Crew's rampage through Chicago is a dark and disturbing chapter in the city's history. Their violent crimes, driven by sadism and ritualistic elements, shocked the nation and left scars that are still felt by many. While most of the group's members remain behind bars or have been executed, the haunting memories of their actions continue to serve as a chilling reminder of the fragile line between humanity and the monstrous acts of which it is capable.